You were listening to episode 82 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John. Take it away, Ryan.
Hey, everybody. Here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we kick push all the way to the top in today's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
That's right, folks. So this week we are actually going to be playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and I think it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater, not Tony Hawk's. And in celebration of the announcement of the remastered, or really redos, of this entire franchise of 1 and 2, which are actually the better ones, I think, out of the entire series, next to Underground. So, as always, we're going to get started with our recent pickups. And so, Ryan, this week, I picked up a pretty sweet collection that came out of some random individual out in Northwest Phoenix. And I picked up Wild Alarm's Ultra Coded F, which is a pretty good game. Xenosaga. I got Jeanne d'Arc off of eBay the other day. And a whole bunch of like Hyperdimension Nepatina and Cross Edge X and Dragon Quest and all these crazy games off this one guy. $60. Was not a bad pickup, dude.
Still hunting deals. Oh, by the way, did we mention that we're live together again today for the first time and reunited, and it feels so good?
Dude, this is like so much better to actually record face to face and having the monitor here and being able to see what's going on. I was so tired of using Zencaster, so I'm pretty stoked that we're doing this again. So dude, any pickups on your end?
Nope, nothing this week. That fluke of buying a game last week, or was it the week before? I don't know. Time means nothing anymore. I've just been still playing as much Monster Train as I possibly can. I love that game. I feel like I'm going to be stuck in it for a while, but I am making a conscious effort to try and pick up playing something else, probably Persona again, probably Final Fantasy VII Remake again, hopefully soon.
So you guys haven't finished beating Final Fantasy VII Remake yet?
No. We made it to the Honeybee Inn, and that was awesome, and then we kind of didn't get back to it after that. We both kind of got wrapped up in other stuff. Your
wife saw what she wanted to see, and then that was it.
Basically, I think.
Yeah, it has to be it. So, as I have been with the last several weeks, I am still playing Neverwinter Nights. So we are still in Chapter 3. We got our first Word of Power the other day by defeating a dragon, which was pretty awesome. So we defeated a white dragon, and then next is defeating a green dragon.
Did it have blue eyes?
It did not have blue eyes, and Seto Kaiba was not behind it. I do know Seto Kaiba personally, though, by the way.
Great guy.
Yeah, he actually... Well, you haven't met him yet, have you?
No,
you haven't met Eric. Yeah, so I actually do know him. Okay, so that, and then I'm also playing Arc Vlad 3 still. Arc Vlad 3 is still good. I just had a crazy week. I'm not going to promote the name of a website, but I've been busy also playing with WordPress this entire week. So we're currently busy getting our website up and running for you guys, for all of you awesome listeners. And yeah, it's been like nights up till 1 a.m., dude, just like straight up coding and finding images and everything I can to get this thing up and running.
It's looking good, though.
Oh, yeah, dude, I'm pretty excited about it. Like, it's live,
where can they find it, John?
Well, I mean, I don't want to give them the exact website yet, but you can find the Game Deflators on all your favorite podcasting applications, including Podcast Addict, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. And, of course, if you don't see us on there, let us know.
Let us know on our socials, at the Game Deflators on Facebook, Instagram, just Game Deflators on Twitter.
Exactly. And one other thing to note is 5-star reviews. Leave them as much as you can. And if you can leave 6, that's even better. Okay. So next piece of business here, since, we covered our currently playing and our recent pickups, or John's recent pickups. We're just going to call it John's recent pickup corner.
John's recent pickup corner. Okay.
So,
I know it's not so much games that we've recently picked up. It's games John's recently picked up.
Yeah, games we're currently playing, games John has picked up. And this week we play a game from John's collection.
Right.
Okay. Next piece here that we'll go into is our first article, dude. So we had talked about this a while back, of the possibility of Silent Hills, potentially being picked up by Sony and Kojima being behind it. And then there's, talks now of like a Silent Hills reboot and everything. So a recent article came up and they just straight up asked Kojima if he has any sort of involvement with Silent Hills and, if there's any major projects going on. This was Michael Beckwith at metro.co.uk. And he just straight up denied it, dude. He's like, no. He's like, I'm not working on any Silent Hills projects right now. So it sounds like it's dead in the water.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that after what happened with, Konami and Kojima, like, that he would want to be involved with them. I mean, he just made his own studio. They released their first game. There's no way that he would go back to developing. I mean, unless they hired him out, as a subcontracted developer to make the game for them, I guess. But I think that Kojima's free of them, and obviously enjoyed it way too much, the freedom, during the, Death Stranding. We all saw how that came out, and that was very Kojima, so we'll see what happens next. But yeah, definitely not going to be a Silent Hills. I mean, I guess I would still like to see a Silent Hills. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Kojima game. Like, somebody else could make a Silent Hills game.
Well, Dying Light recently, or supposed to have DLC where they're going to have Pyramid Head added to it. So they have like a whole Silent Hills DLC that's being plugged in.
Oh, really?
So it makes me wonder with this whole talk of, Silent Hills reboot or Silent Hill reboot, and then you've got this DLC coming out, like maybe there's something kind of brewing there. I could potentially see there's been discussions in the past of Sony potentially picking up Konami, and like that being an organization that they would purchase or acquire. So, if Konami was acquired, they get all those IPs, and Kojima's always been a big, supporter of the PlayStation. So I could potentially see a Silent Hills coming down the road, but as of right now, it sounds like those rumors are pretty much squashed.
Yeah.
He did mention in this article, man, that Death Stranding was profitable, which is good news because that means more Kojima games. But he also mentioned on there that he had another project he was working on that got canceled, which it always makes you wonder, like, that guy's brain is all over the place. So what could have possibly been canceled and why? Is it because, like, they saw Death Stranding and are like, my God, like, this guy just put out, UPS delivery service 3.0 on the PlayStation 4 in an open world setting. Like, what can he think of next?
Lunch Lady Simulator.
Lunch Lady Simulator. I mean, I got Job Simulator, so that's kind of close, right? Norman Reedus carrying around the baby and everything. Come on. Like, I could potentially see a major publisher being like, no, we're not going to take the risk on you with this one. So it's really interesting that, something did get canceled. And, he straight up says in the article here in this interview, like, yeah, I'm pissed. They canceled a recent project. Mm-hmm. And we talked about a while back. He's got like movie ideas and all these other crazy things that he's doing.
The potential for Kojima Productions to go into something greater than, the history of games and, just trying to redig old material. And that's something I'm going to bring up in the next article too. But I think that people like Kojima need to bring us into the future of gaming and stop letting us stare back at where we came from.
Yeah, like all of these remakes and, talks of, older console companies coming back and everything else, all these crazy rumors, Kojima's offering something fresh, whenever, like a new perspective on gaming whenever he makes something. And, his ideas, while they might be all over the place, it's not a 12th Call of Duty game, and it's not another Mario game or, some other crazy franchise that, Resident Evil getting remade. Now, I think they're talking about remaking Code Veronica or Veronica X or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Like, they're all over the place. I know Resident Evil 4 is apparently supposed to get a remake. So,
yeah.
We're going back.
Which barely needs it.
Yeah, I know. Like,
I love that game. I would buy it again. I haven't bought it on Switch yet. But if they did a remake and that came out on Switch, which, I mean, I guess it probably wouldn't because it'd be too graphically demanding.
Yeah, arguably it's one of the better, Resident Evil 4 games out there.
It's my favorite game of all time.
Yeah, a lot of people love that game. And so we go back to all this nostalgia all the time, and Kojima does offer, like, fresh perspectives on gaming, which is nice. But it's so different and out there that it doesn't really get accepted, so that kind of sucks. But, I did just bring up a little bit ago, there's another company looking to make a comeback in some sort of capacity or rumored to be making a comeback. So let you kick that one off, man.
Yeah, so anybody reading online might have heard about the big Sega news that was going to come out. Somebody reported that there was going to be a very big Sega announcement coming out soon. And speculation has run rampant across the internet about what that might just be. So we're looking at why the Sega Xbox console makes sense for everyone. And this is from Game Central at metro.co.uk. This is I don't know, this is a wild theory that's running out there that basically Xbox is going to let the Xbox One be sold under the Sega name just for name recognition in the Eastern market to try to pump up sales. But I agree with Game Central that this is kind of a dumb idea. It's the games that people in those countries don't want. Like they're not trying to appeal to that audience. Sony, Nintendo, like these obviously appeal to that culture because they're from that culture. They make a lot of games that don't release outside of the region that really hook in, you know, the niche audiences that are a part of that culture. I'm sure some of the, you know, bigger, you know, mass multi-console titles get over there and do just as well. But, you know, it's nothing that Xbox itself is making that is pulling them in, which is why I think instead of selling it, they should have Sega exclusive games for the Xbox. Just Sega games made exclusive for the Xbox directly to appeal to that Eastern market and see if they can get, you know, some new ideas pumping. Like, I don't think that they need to tread out Sonic and try to make Sonic the face of Xbox or anything stupid like that. But there's a lot of Sega franchises that could make a comeback or, you know, could even establish new IPs. Like Bayonetta was a really good game that came out a while ago, and that's listed in with the, you know, the Sega video game franchises. Like that brought a lot of life into the Wii U. You know, it did very well there before it went multi-platform.
You mean the Switch or the Wii U?
The Wii U was when Bayonetta came out,
okay,
right?
yeah, I just want to make sure. Because it is on the Switch, too, I think, exclusively.
Yeah, they came out with 3 on the Switch, and then they remade 1 and 2. But a game that harkens back to Xbox for me that also has Sega is going to be Jet Set Radio. Like, I always fondly remember looking at Jet Set Radio. It was such a cool title, and when Xbox came out, it was like, this is like an awesome thing. Like, I haven't really seen this kind of style anywhere else, and I'd love to see something like that make a comeback, or, you know, come up with some totally new...
Oh, Echo the Dolphin, Ryan.
Echo the Dolphin, Phantasy Star. These are all things that are still looking back. I would still like to see them, like, bring Sega in and let those Sega guys make an Xbox game that's gonna only be on the Xbox and isn't gonna have any of that pull. Because if you're just gonna sell the console under the name, then it's only the name that matters, not necessarily the IP. So if you can get that name to just make a new game, it's gonna have that same kind of trust effect.
So in this particular article, we just have Game Central. There was no author for this one? I was going to reference the name.
No, I mean, that's what the name says on the article. It says Game Central.
According to Game, because his last name is Central, it's mentioned in this article in particular that one of the reasons that Xbox doesn't do well, and it says in there, it's not a matter of, you know, Japanese consumers not wanting to support an American company because they buy things like the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Now, years ago, that was probably a little true, right? Like, they're not going to jump in and buy Xbox when you have name brands like Sega, Nintendo, and Sony coming out of Japan. You know, why go with the American product at that point? That's not really, you know, it doesn't have that history to it. So I could see that years ago. Now it's not really as much of an issue. But one of the things that he mentioned, or they mentioned in the article, is Microsoft's marketing over there just sucks, and they don't have the games that, you know, really to pull in Japanese consumers. I think, based on what they were saying, it makes more sense to purchase Sega or purchase exclusivity for those games for, say, $1 billion, right? Just offer a huge chunk of change to them. That takes Sonic out of Nintendo. It takes, you know, multiple Sega games away from Sony, any sort of, you know, collaboration they have. I mean, it really does kind of stick it to those two companies, plus expands your market out in Japan, which has been a huge weakness for the Xbox.
Yeah, but I just don't... I mean, I I hesitate to say because I'm not a big Sega person and I'm not a big Sonic person, but I don't think Sonic is strong enough as a brand to make people buy an Xbox. Like, I think people still play Sonic because it's available on whatever platform they're playing, but it's not going to be enough to just pull them alone over there.
Well, what about Yakuza?
I mean,
Imagine Yakuza being exclusive to Xbox out in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, that could be possible, but I mean, they're making so much money off of those games anyways. Like, are they really going to be...
Well, it's only on PlayStation. You know, like, I understand the user base is pretty high on that, but if you're Microsoft, you know, you're paying Sega a lot of money to try and get exclusive deals to pull your system into a new market. So is it worth it at that point to have, you know, Sonic, Yakuza, I think Valkyrie Chronicles, is that Sega as well? I don't recall offhand. But, you know, there's a lot of titles out there that are under the Sega brand that...
The Valkyria Chronicles games?
I'm pretty sure those are Sega. I don't know offhand. So, I mean, you have, like, JRPGs that are out of, you know, Japan through Sega that don't come over to the U.S. or really just don't make it west. You've got the Yakuza series. I think Judgment was also Sega, if I'm correct. You know, you've got Sonic. You've got Echo the Dolphin, if you want to bring him up. You've got the Streets of Rage series, I mean, kind of in that respect. So, I mean, there's tons of games that were on the Sega Genesis, on the Sega Saturn, on all these Sega consoles years ago that could go through remakes and make a big splash in a Japanese market and even in the American market, or really the Western market. So I can see them doing something like that. Now, the thing that's obviously kind of been brought up is Sega doing a new console, but, you know, a lot of people have said Sega doesn't have the money and they don't have the technology to do that. So that's where it kind of comes in.
Well, and to make an announcement of,
but that's
doing a console while the Xbox and PS5 are already fully ramped up would be weird.
That's where that rumor of the whole, like,
they're
Xbox
gonna,
with the
do
Sega
the announcement, say it's out today, and just repeat their errors of the past.
Here's the thing. What if Microsoft backed it and said, hey, we're going to just call this a Dreamcast 2? Like, the Dreamcast is already one of those, like, consoles that people really love, and it wasn't successful. It's one of those, like, iconic consoles that just died, right? So imagine a Dreamcast 2 is announced. It's backed by Microsoft. And, oh, by the way, the announcement is June 4th, and Sony has their big release on June 5th. What better way to just, you know, stick it to Sony than to announce we're having a new console launch? Like, that just takes away all of that momentum from Sony. Like, Sony's already screwed up with their whole release process and giving, you know, all the marketing that's tied to it. And, you know, it's pretty much been like this dead thing. Like, this is supposed to be the big exciting piece for Sony, right? For PS5, the thing that's supposed to get people, like, clamoring for it and excited. Microsoft could very easily tie something into Sega that just shakes up the whole industry and just brushes Sony aside and just puts them over on the edge. Like, I could see this being a potential console through Sega, man, with Microsoft in collaboration.
Well, we'll find out next week.
Well, really,
for sure.
This week, I think.
Thursday.
Yeah,
I guess it's Sunday today.
Yeah. So the article
week,
comes out Thursday, I think, through, is it Fatsumo or is it, I forget which one it is. It's going to be releasing the article. Ryan's looking up right now, but, you know, that's pending if we end up with a situation where it's leaked in advance. I mean, it is an article, right? It's got to go through editors, and a number of people are going to have their hands on that. So the possibility of that article leaking is, you know, also, you know, in the realm of possibilities. So the next piece we'll tie into while you're looking that up is an article by Jim Ryan at Giz China. I didn't realize that was a publication, but...
Yeah, Famitsu.
Oh, Famitsu. Okay, cool. So yeah, PlayStation 5 will reflect best pricing, but it may not be cheap. So we've talked about pricing in the past. We've seen this thing anywhere from $450 to $700 to $650.
My projected $1,000 bundle with a PSVR 2.
Well, I saw an article recently that said an entry level, or not entry level, it would be like the premier, like, pro version of like 1.65 terabytes of, hard drive space and some upgraded specs and everything.
All the flops.
All the flops would be somewhere in a range of about 600 to 650 is what I saw in a recent rumor. But that's a pro-type version, which makes you wonder, and we've talked about this, releasing a pro-type version at a much higher price point.
I think we've talked about everything with this.
We have talked about it. But I don't remember if we talked about this in particular. And at the same time, releasing a lower-end PS5 that the general consumer could get their hands on.
I mean, I'm just so tired of speculating all of this. I really hope that they just lay it all down on the table so we could be over it. But I mean, if you wanna call like final predictions now that we're hopefully up against the actual announcement and we'll actually have results,
$299.
what are you gonna? What's gonna be your prediction if you were establishing
price point,
betting odds? What would you do?
I think price point on this thing is gonna be $450. I think we're gonna see backwards compatibility right out the gate. With
they already have over 100 games that are backwards compatible.
But I'm saying like with a software download of some sort, similar to Xbox 360. And I could see them saying, hey, we're going to have Last of Us 2 on here, Ghost of Tsushima, like all of these, or Ghost of Tsushima, all these games will be released as well on PS5. I can see that happening right out the gate.
And you're banking on multiple versions at release?
Maybe not multiple versions right at release. Well, yeah, because it's released in holiday season, so yeah. And I could potentially see June 5th. Can you imagine if we get a God of War unveiled on June 5th? So, I mean, that right there would just like pump everybody up for this console. So $450, potential God of War coming out. I could see a secondary console hitting the market with it. So a pro-type version right out the gate. And
so you think we'll see all that on Friday?
I think we'll hear about it. We may not get all the details, but I think they're going to just lay it all out. They said, look, what we're doing here, I think it's actually mentioned in this article, Sony is trying to make this so that this is just as exciting as it would be at E3. That's what their goal is. Their goal is to make this, even more exciting than if you were in the auditorium.
I know it's going to be
E3.
sad without E3.
I know it really is.
Hopefully these things they're going to be releasing online will be worth the watch. I mean, I've never been to E3. I've only ever watched it online, anyways. But it would be nice to see that same kind of level of quality and hype carry through in individual self-promoted videos.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I guess back on that last little bit there with the PS5 announcement and everything kind of going on. So I mean, I think all of that's going to occur. They're going to talk about that, really pump people up for it. And, we'll really see what Sony has to offer of that on June 5th. Hopefully, we get some leaks. One other piece, though, I actually saw, it was another article that I was reading this morning. I can't find it. I was trying to find it later on. Is they said that the PS5 is supposed to be double the size and thickness of the PS4 Pro.
What?
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
I don't buy that.
I don't know, man. You look at Xbox with the giant brick.
Seen the prototype. The prototype was not that big.
Have you seen somebody's hands around the prototype?
I think so.
I don't think so, man. So, and that's just a prototype. So that's, how many fans are in that thing? Like, is that thing being run for 8-12 hours a day for gaming? I mean, maybe. So it'll be, it'd be really cool, actually. That'd be a really cool collector's piece. That prototype. It actually looks pretty sweet.
That is pretty thick. I found a picture of it up against a mouse,
like a desktop mouse. Yeah. So that's like, what, 3 computer mouses? So yeah.
That's looking pretty fat.
Yeah. So PS5 fat.
Here's my prediction. I think that we're definitely finally going to see what it's going to look like. I think that it's going to be $500. I don't think we're going to get any new game announcements, but I think that maybe they'll show off PSVR. I think that's a piece of the puzzle that we've still yet to see. Maybe it's just because I played some more Half-Life Alyx and thought it was super awesome, but like that was a big shakeup. I mean, Half-Life Alyx is the Mario 64 of VR games. Like it's going to be that kind of milestone marker in that movement. And I think that Sony being able to jump on and demonstrate. Well, I guess if they were going to demonstrate PSVR, they would probably have a new game to announce. So I'll say a PSVR game and PSVR 2, or at least something about the connectivity with PSVR 1. And no multiple versions at launch. I don't think that. And I mean, looking at these pictures now, maybe it is going to be kind of like a fat, ugly console. Like, I really hope they don't keep this, like, V design for 5, because that seems like something foolish. But I also don't like most of the mock-ups that I've seen. I haven't really seen a mock-up that I love. I have a feeling it's probably going to be dual color, like the controller.
I would love to see a white console at launch.
Dude, man, I wanted a white PS3 so bad. They had an import one at Atomic Comics forever, or maybe it was the GameStop at the mall. I can't remember. One of those two places had it. And I wanted it so bad. And it was backwards compatible, and I never got it.
I think it's out in Europe, if I'm correct. They have, like, the car colors for the PlayStation console. So there's, like, a automotive blue and an automotive yellow, and
I love other color consoles. When I was in
Japan, actually has a I think it's a cherry blossom pink for the PS2.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I remember when I worked in a game store years ago, we had picked up a Japanese PS2 console and some games, and yeah, there was a cherry blossom style PS2 that came in, and dude, that thing looked sweet.
All right, cherry blossom at launch.
Cherry blossom PS4 or PS5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so,
I'd be stoked for that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that I'm just not enthused about speculating on the PS5 stuff anymore. It's just gotten so old, and we've talked it to death. So just like, that's all I want. Like, I don't care. I don't care.
You want to
just
see
show me what it looks like.
You want VR.
Tell me how
and
much
price.
it costs, and I'll be happy. I don't even need to see the VR to be happy. But it's just like, once those two things are out of the way, we already know all the performance stuff. So hopefully we could just be done with it, and we can just be like, all right, which one is the better one before they even come out?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I definitely want to see more gameplay of different games. And I really do want to see VR. That's not something I even considered when I was giving my prediction to you. I could see them unveiling some sort of VR too at that point. It's been super hush-hush. We really haven't heard much about it since the initial...
It
will happen at some point, and there's the speculation of it's wireless and everything else.
Yeah.
If they show a wireless VR headset with like gloves or something instead of the controls themselves, dude, like, just watch out. Like, that would be sick.
Yeah, that's what my friend says. The haptic feedback gloves are going to change everything.
Yes. So if something like that is announced by Sony, that's going to be flipping huge. Did we talk about this? It was a PS5 controller, and that you'll be able to feel like the different elements while you're playing, apparently, because of the haptic feedback.
Yeah, there's going to be like tension triggers and stuff like that that'll make it pretty cool.
They were saying like you could tell like when it's raining, or you could tell when it's like cold and stuff.
Yeah, so we'll see how advanced that is. I mean, I don't think anything since 1.2 Switch has used the HD rumble feature of the Switch, really.
Yeah, that's true. Which I think this is the first time we haven't talked Nintendo in a or advanced Nintendo in a podcast episode in quite some time.
Yeah.
So, all right, dude. Well, if there's nothing else, I know you're so excited about the PlayStation 5 and speculation. Let's jump into our inflation deflation game of the week. So this one is going to be Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, developed by Neversoft, published by Activision, released in October of 2001, and of course, it is a sports genre game. So, Ryan, I absolutely demolished you today in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
No surprise there. So, I definitely played a ton of this game when I was a kid. I definitely played most of the Tony Hawks, I think. I skipped 2 because I didn't have it, and I skipped Underground 1, but I played tons of Underground 2. I remember renting 3 all the time and playing it with my friends. And man, with the announcement of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster, that really makes me want to probably pick those up when those come out.
Did you see the collector's edition for it?
I did not.
Does
it come with a skateboard?
It comes with a skateboard deck, and it was $99.
Oh, wow.
I was so pissed I missed out on that. I was going to buy it. Like I saw it, I'm like, I gotta buy this. And yeah, the only way I could get it is if it was shipped out from like the UK, and shipping fees and import stuff, like all of that is just ridiculous. So I end up not being able to get a copy of it.
Well,
but yeah,
you can't win them all, John.
No, I can't win them all.
But yeah, this is a super great game. Lots of fond memories of this game. Lots of replayability. You know, you can play a 2-player. There's tons of different modes. There's horse and slap and graffiti. You know, lots of different things to keep you interested with your friends, like customizing characters. I forget if this one has a skate park maker. I'm pretty sure it has that.
I think they all do.
Yeah, and you know, cheat codes, unlockable characters, you know, going through the story mode or single player mode. There's lots of different challenges in all the different maps. It's got that same style of, you know, skater late 90s, early 2000s humor, you know, throw in Bam Margera and some Jackass crew once you get into the Underground series. And
well, this one had Bam Margera as well.
Yeah, this one has Bam as a skater. It's it really brings back a lot to me, especially because I was never really a skateboarder. Like, I had a skateboard and I loved all this part of it. Like, I just listened to Tony Hawk had a podcast with Joe Rogan last week. And it was awesome to just listen to him talk about stuff for a while and really kind of be like, you know, I know nothing about skateboarding except for you in these games. And even that is something that I don't know that much. All I know is that I love it no matter what. Like, if we hadn't played this game today and I went 10 years without playing a Tony Hawk game again, I would still be like just as, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Tony Hawk's sick. The games are sick. Skateboarding's cool as hell. Even though it never was really a big part of my life, I mean, these games really helped bring up a kind of culture around this at that time when it was really blowing up.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, with Tony Hawk 1, 2, and 3, 3 wasn't one I really got into. I kind of skipped that, and 4, really. I played a lot of 1, and then I played a lot of 2 growing up on the PS1. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't have it. So with that one, dude, I just remember Power Man 5000. Like, that's how I got into Power Man 5000.
Shout outs to the music.
Yeah, the music's always been great in those games. Hangar, I think it's Hangar, is that one level that has like the helicopter and everything. It just, all the different areas, like if you grind on one thing, it blows up and opens up a whole other level. And you know, just crazy, like cool stuff for those levels.
Very imaginative.
Yeah.
Like, for being like a game about skateboarding, it's way more than just that. Like, a game about football is basically just a football game. It doesn't have this whole culture and, like, you know, all the brands. Like, I don't know anything about skateboards. I can't remember all the brand names right now, but like, there were tons of just logos and stuff from like tech decks and things that it's like I knew all of that.
Yeah, man.
At one point or another, with being just so barely knowing anything about it from what it actually is.
Well, and I think the levels, you know, it's interesting that number 2 is the one getting remade. But number 2 has like some iconic levels, like the school, Venice Beach. You know, I'd mentioned a Hangar.
It's 1 and 2.
1 and 2. You know, I know it's 1 and 2, but I'm saying like 2 is kind of the one I think everybody's going to be looking forward to the most. I think that's the one that really kind of catapulted that series onto that next level. And then Underground as well. So I don't know how much of Underground you played.
I didn't play much of Underground 1. I played way more of Underground 2.
Yeah, so Underground,
on my PSP.
You saw what I was doing, like unloading like 30,000 point combos, and I haven't played this game in years. Underground, I was hitting like 1 million point combos and stuff in Underground with my manuals and grinding and everything else. So Underground was one of my all-time favorites. I would say it probably is my favorite of the series, primarily because of the story component that's on there, building this skater from nothing into like this huge celebrity, and there's just a huge story component that goes with it that I really enjoyed. And number 2 and number 3 and all that don't have that, but they're still good in their own respect. So number 3 really did remind me of number 1 and 2 while we were playing that. And it was a lot of fun. Like, I honestly don't think I've played number 3, like, ever. So being able to boot that up and kind of have like a new experience in a way was actually pretty cool.
And it was fun being able to play a game together again after all this time.
Oh my God, dude. Like sitting here playing Super R-Type and not having somebody yell at it with me was like the worst thing ever. Which I still got to beat it, by the way.
Yeah. So breaking it down for everybody, the numbers. We've got complete inbox. This is $11 currently. That peaked at $11.56 just last month, which would be April 2020. Right now it's trending up. It's loose right now for $7.74, which is the current peak, and that's going up too. So apparently everybody's jumping on the Tony Hawk train in anticipation for these new remake releases, I guess.
Dude, everything. Like we looked at my copy of Tony Hawk's Underground 1, and I didn't have the disc in there, and I was so pissed. So I'm like, oh, let me find a loose copy. $20.
Yeah.
Like for a loose copy of it.
So the most expensive version of this game you could buy is the N64 version for $48, and the cheapest version you could buy is the PAL GBA version for $344. I'm gonna probably advise you to stay away from that.
I would probably any GBA based Tony Hawk game, I'd probably say stay away from in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're playing on like a DS or a 3DS, it's probably not going to be worth that price point.
Yeah.
Regardless. So, dude, it's really interesting that the N64 version is so high, but with this whole like pandemic and everybody just like all the game stores were closed down, so people just had this like big kick of let me look at nostalgia type stuff. Everything just skyrocketed, man. GameCube games are up the ass right now. N64, Xbox surprisingly isn't yet, but I just saw that PS2 games are starting to go up again. Like it's nuts.
Yeah.
Like PS1's even going up now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I couldn't imagine trying to play Tony Hawk on an N64 controller. That just would seem so bizarre because I've never even tried it.
I think I have it on number 3, if I'm correct, or number 2. We should play Tony Hawk on an N64 at some point and compare as to how difficult it really is and how terrible it is to play on an N64 controller.
Yeah.
Like, how would you even do that with the one joystick?
Well, you probably would use the D-pad.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what we use as D-pads today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you've got your big A, B, and then what are you using? C buttons for the other two?
Who knows? And then the Z button, where the hell does that come in? I don't know, dude. The N64 controller sucks.
Right.
It's honestly I love it though. It is my least favorite controller in the history of controllers. I would much rather use an Atari controller or joystick than I would an N64 controller. They are terrible. Now the Hori controllers, the secondary ones that look like a real controller, and the retro, I think it's Retro Bit made one as well for N64. Those look like controllers. Whatever Nintendo did, they were snorting lines of coke while they were trying to make that stuff, man.
So, banana.
Yeah, and DK64 is another thing that they were snorting coke when they made it. So, all right, where are you at on this one, man? At $11, that's the high right now in a complete in box for this particular game.
Dude, yeah, $11. $11 for this? Totally. You could get way more than $11 out of this game. Easy. And it's like, it's one of those games that if you bought this for your collection would be totally worth playing. Like there's so many games that you're gonna buy for a collection that you hope you'll get to one day or that you know you'll never get to. This is one of those games that if you had it, it would be a delight to play whenever you wanted to go to it. And I mean, apparently it's going up, you know, like if it keeps going up, I mean, I guess if the N64 version is the one you got to have, maybe $48 isn't worth it. But $11 for the PS2 version, definitely. I would say as much as 15 would be okay for this.
Yeah, I'm right in there with you, man. I would honestly say that I'm not going to say 20. That's a little high, but you know, if it got to $20 and it just kept going up and up and up on a complete in box.
If it looks like it's going to go out of control wild.
Yeah, I mean, if it hits $20, you still wouldn't really be doing yourself a disservice buying this game because it's just a good game. Now, if it's number 2 and we're talking $20, and hell yeah, you know, if that's where it's at. I honestly don't know where number 2's at right now, but yeah, dude, $11, no brainer. Pick it up. It's totally worth it.
Especially since it's been hitting its record right now. Now would be the time to buy before it gets any higher. Unless you want to wait a year and see if it comes down.
Yeah, I mean, and right now it's really hype, right? So you've got Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 coming out, remastered or redone or whatever the hell we're doing. And yeah, everything, like all the Tony Hawk games are up right now. Every single one of them. Like I don't think there's a one that's like not looking like it's peaking at this point in time. So
to be fair and honest, we did not actually look at all of the numbers. So if some of those numbers aren't true, don't yell at us. We're speculating now.
Speculation, but looking at Underground 1, 2, and this version, and also on the N64, I could probably safely say, but don't quote me on it, they're probably all going up right now. And it's except for the GBA versions. Those are just terrible.
Yeah.
Those are horrible games.
With the exception of the GBA versions, I'd probably buy any Tony Hawk game for $15.
No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so much value that you get out of a game like that. Like we said.
And like the music alone is great. Like you would pay $15 to buy all of those songs on iTunes.
Yeah, exactly. So like, why not relax, sit back, bust your ass on a skateboard, you know, because you suck, until you improve, and listen to really good music as you do unlockables. I mean, come on, the secret tapes, the skate symbol, tagging things, like just grinding on like we had to grind a rail to knock the foreman of, you know, the metalwork facility, into a pool of water. Like, come on, like there's really cool stuff like that, and it's just like so obscure and random. It's just fun.
Classic mischief.
Classic mischief. So yeah, I'm on the same boat as you, man. I would call this one deflated. 100% deflated. And hopefully, once we get our website built up, we can start linking people over there and being like, look, check out all of our previous episodes that you could catch. And where can they find us, Ryan?
They can find us online at any of the social medias at the Game Deflators, Facebook, Instagram, except for Twitter, just Game Deflators.
And of course, if you're catching us at the tail end of this episode, catch our podcast on all the podcast applications out there. So Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Podcast Addict. I can name probably 10. There's a lot more than that, though. So if you don't see us on there, let us know. We'll hop on. And of course, give us some 5-star reviews. Dude, so before we close out, we've got a pretty cool, well, not our episode, but we're going to be on the Game Tenants podcast coming up here pretty soon. So it's going to be Church, who is with Game Grinder, and you've got Jason, who is Corpse Flood Gaming. So they got a really cool podcast that, you know, we've been catching for really since, you know, we pay attention to that since we started podcasting ourselves. And a couple really good guys are going to have us on there, and we're going to have some pretty cool topics. We're not going to reveal what they are right now because it's kind of in the works, but dude, they're pretty funny. Like the conversations we had on Facebook the other day with them discussing topics was awesome. So
yeah,
I'm stoked.
If you guys want to catch us on there, go ahead and give them a listen. Search for the Game Tenants Podcast. I'm sure that they're on all of the same places we are: Spotify, iHeart, all those different places.
I know they're on SoundCloud, but I catch them on YouTube. So they actually upload their podcast to YouTube as well.
Okay, so catch them at Game Tenants at YouTube. Let them know the Game Deflators sent you, and that you're waiting to listen and see how we all get on when we hang out.
Yeah, and of course, get both of their pages likes. I know they don't have a Game Tenants page, but they have, so you got Game Grinder, you've got his page through Facebook and Twitter.
He puts out some good stuff.
Yeah, he's got some good, he actually has some pretty cool, like, unveiling videos, like whenever he gets a collector's edition or a limited run game, he'll open those up, which are pretty cool. And you've got Corpse Flood Gaming, so check both those guys out. And we'll definitely, I guess if you listen to them too, we'll catch you on that episode. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week. Do you know what you want to play next week?
Yeah, I do. I want to play Katamari Damacy because I've never played it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, you haven't played it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, that game's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I want to play Katamari.
PS2 or I think I had PS3 version.
I could see it up there on PS2. We'll pick which one we want to play, but I earlier today when I was talking about Jet Set Radio, I was thinking the art style from Jet Set Radio, and for whatever reason, like the bold colors and stuff made me immediately think of Katamari, and I've been trying to like think about it all, you know, the rest of the recording, and I'm like, yeah, that's what we should play.
Yeah, dude, Katamari is one of those games that I've just really enjoyed over the years. I should probably buy all of them while I can, while they're cheap, because I don't think they're really high up there right now. I think I have two. I have Katamari, is it Damacy, and then We Love Katamari?
Yeah, those are both titles.
Yeah, so I think I have both of those games. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. So we'll have to choose which one of those we want to play, and we'll have that recorded next week. All right. Well, this has been episode 82 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.